y'all, today I'm gonna give y'all a short story time about what happened over Easter weekend. So I had been invited to go to a birthday party along with my mom, so we were heading there, right? And she had an idea of where the place was but wasn't too sure, and so I had typed it into my Google Maps, just to kind of like help us out. And as we're traveling, because it wasn't too far from where we lived, we were heading up the road, and then we got to this part in the road, and I said, I feel like we passed it, and the GPS wasn't, or Google Maps wasn't telling us, if we were there, and it looked like even on Google Maps that we had passed the place anyway. So I turned back around on the same road, and this was getting frustrated because we weren't able to find the place, and the landmark that she was looking for, she wasn't finding as we were like driving. And I was driving, I wasn't driving fast, pretty slow. And so after some frustration, and I wasn't getting too bugged out about it, I'm like, if we're meant to be there, the Lord will help us to get to our destination. And I kind of left it at that. I wasn't too teed about the situation. And so as we're getting ready to head back home and about to make a turn onto our road, and we would be like 5 minutes away from our house, that's when one of our older church members, he doesn't go to the church anymore, but we still know him and stuff, he was turning around. He was because we stopped at a stop sign right when I was getting ready to make a left. Here he comes around the corner, and so I'm like, is that what's his name? And I'm like, let's get his attention. So I pull down the window quickly, and we're yelling his name and all that stuff, and we asked him, we're like, do you know where the place for the birthday is? And he said, yeah. And he said, y'all can go ahead and turn around and follow me. So we follow him there, and we get there, and my mom was just, like praising God. She's like, the Lord made a way, and all that good stuff. And I was thinking in my head, I'm like, wow, that's the timing of God is just so impeccable. And another situation happened. So when we get there, the person who's the hostess, he was, directing people where to park and stuff. And then he said, you can go ahead and park down there by the lake. And so I had like my own parking spot there. And I was only a little bit worried because the way that I was like parked, I'm like, it looks like it's going to be kind of hard for me to get out. Like, you can't back up because I went down a hill kind of. I'm like, I wonder how I'm gonna get out of here when it's time to go. But I'm like, I'm not worried about it. I'm like, if I need to ask for help, I'll ask for help, and I'm not gonna worry about it, have a good time and stuff like that. So when we're in a line getting ready to get food, that's when the same man who's the hostess, he comes up to me and he said, I saw the way that you parked, and he said, it's gonna be a bit harder for you to get back up the hill, so I'm gonna turn your car around for you. And he asked me for my keys, and I was like so surprised. I'm like, wow, okay. I'm like, thank you so much. I was worrying about that, and I figured I'd ask for help or whatnot. And he said, yeah, you don't even have to worry about it. I'll turn the car around for you, and so when it's time to leave, you can just pull straight out. And so I was like, wow. The timing was impeccable, and I was just sitting there as I was like talking with other people and like eating. I'm like, when it was time to get ready to leave, and we had a good time and stuff like that, I just thought to myself, I'm like, this is two distinct situations where the Lord just came through. Like, and my message of even sharing these story times is that the same things that you're worried about is the same situations the Lord already has worked out. You just gotta depend on it. Like, I don't know, I feel like I experienced God's favor in a way because I didn't even ask. I wasn't like praying to God for help or anything, but I was like at peace with knowing, I'm like, if I'm meant to get there, then the Lord will help us get there. My point being is that the Lord has already worked out situations that we're concerned about or not sure about how certain things are gonna happen. But if we would just leave the situation in his hand, he will show us how he already got it worked out, and all we got to do is walk through it. So that was so interesting to me, and just those two distinct situations. And then there was another situation in terms of like scheduling something that worked out perfectly for me to be able to save money. If you are kind of in your mind worrying about how a situation is going to be worked out, give it to the Lord. Allow him to give you peace of mind, because his peace surpasses all understanding and he knows what he's doing. We just gotta trust God, and we gotta trust that if something's for us, if something's meant to happen, then it's gonna happen. We don't have to make it happen, is what the whole point of what I'm saying. But yeah, trust in the Lord and just trust that he'll direct your path.